Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Spikes. As I sit here and I try to get ready and listen to what's going on in the media. One of the things that I come up with is that I figured out that our party, the Democratic Party, has a big issue that's on the way. And I'm looking down at my telephone. Don't think anything's wrong. I'm looking down at my telephone, probably trying to take off notifications so I don't get any telephone calls while I'm doing this. You know, I don't know if I told you, I'm one of these people that I'm a nighttime person. And I try to tell the people this all the time. I'm a nighttime person. When it's quiet, everybody else is sleeping and kind of taking care of their own business. I'm up, I'm listening, I'm looking at stuff, and I'm trying to get stuff to get my mind right. I can't, sometimes you run across some stuff that you just can't rest from. I don't even want to dibble and dabble too long, because they say you got about 30 seconds to get somebody's attention. There's a bombshell getting ready to happen out there, and we better be prepared for it, because the Republicans are in the process of setting us up for failure in the midterm elections. One of the last things that you seen during the introduction of this show was the midterm elections. It's coming up, and we need to be prepared for what's happening, because we're gonna have to make some strong decisions. I know that me, Pastor Riggins, and Byron Glass, what we do is we say, well, we're gonna pick the best candidate. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you thought the emails of Hillary Clinton were bad, if they bring this up at the right time during the election process, during the midterms, we are going to be out of it. We're going to be way out of it. We're going to be at a point where we can't recover. Probably for the next 10 years, as Byron Glass said, it's going to be like a bomb that went off in the room, and we don't know which way to run. It's almost like somebody claiming fire in the theater. And like I said, I was up listening to this last night, and I just want, it's got me to a point where we're just gonna have to really pick our fire, our poison. You know, for a party that's so far off base, that's so far away from where the American people are, and I'm gonna tell you, my real name is, everybody calls me Ron, but my real name is Ronald. I get these things sent to me in the email. Good morning, Ron. We hope you won't scroll past this short read. It's Sunday, and we're sure your inbox is crowded, so we want to get straight to our point. We're asking you to make a $3 contribution to the DNC ahead of the mid-month fundraising deadline on Tuesday. This is our first fundraising deadline since the congressional Republicans voted to rip healthcare away from 17 million people. You know, Democrats have a way of just putting stuff like it's like this is major news. It ain't like Trump didn't tell you what he was going to do from the beginning. It ain't like he didn't hide what he was going to do. He told you where he was going. And you sit back and you act like he did something different than what he said. He put it out there. It went through Congress. It passed by one vote. Then it went through the Senate, and then he signed a bill on health care. But you knew it was coming before then. But here's the deal: we retroactive in our behavior, retroactive, and then we expect everybody else. But then the problem that I have, and the only reason why I want to do this video, is because you do things like this. You want us to keep paying you to keep fooling us. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world. But if you're doing this to people that didn't vote for you in the first place. You're not even giving them a reason to come back to your party. You're not even giving them a reason to stand up. And I know. That's not what this video is about, but that's part of it. That's part of how we got here. You know, I went to a movie called The Matrix, and I saw this picture, and I thought this was so appropriate. Because somewhere they just think that the only options that we have is a red or blue pill. That's not the only option that we have. We could use our mind and vote what's best for our area. See, this thing right here is where this country is right now. The red or the blue pill. The red people, I'm gonna tell you, the red people, Republican Party, so to speak, they want to get their members in line. They make threats to their members. They make promises, and their members talk all this garbage. I'm gonna say garbage for lack of a better term. They talk all that trash until it comes time to vote. And if you notice, they take their voting serious. When it comes time to vote, they give people whatever they want to get the vote passed. They're good. They're good at that. They're good at deceiving the American public. And they've been at it. They're so good at it that we don't catch on. And I want to play this next thing because I don't want to get too far off where I'm going. I want to play this next thing because I'm gonna get to my original point, and I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna try to break it down where everybody has an understanding. You see that word back there, truth? I'm gonna try to get to that point. The reason why I changed my background screen to truth versus Two Gens podcast is because of the stuff that's going on in the world today. I know what we should be talking about. If we had a two-party system, the Democrats should be talking about this healthcare bill and ripping it to no end until midterm elections. Something just fell off my desk. That's what they should be talking about. But I'm gonna set this up like this. Have you ever seen a train wreck? Have you ever looked at a train wreck video? Now that train, as it's coming down the track, they have warning signs. They have all kind of stuff to alert you that the train possibility, you hear that ding, ding, ding. I didn't want to get gigs, so I'm going to have to explain it to you because I don't want them to say I use a video. But you hear that ding, 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 and then you hear that train is coming on those tracks. Now that train is different, runs different than where you're driving. When you get up on the train track, it's not so smooth. So when you get up there, you know where you're at. Now, as I look at those trains, hit those cars, trucks, or whatever, I wonder how did that car get in the path of an oncoming train? And that's what we should be asking ourselves. How did they get here? They're sitting in the middle of the intersection and the train is coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's never changed. Most of the train tracks have been here for almost 50, 60 years, and they come and they run through small America. They run through everywhere, and most of the people that live in those small communities or big cities know that train comes, and some of them are even on a schedule when they come. But have you ever thought about the people that was in that car? They put themselves in the right position at the right time in the middle of the tracks, and they sitting there. And this train is on the tracks. And they a lot of times their cars are sitting there for a period of time, and maybe it's stalled out. Maybe they couldn't go any further forward. Maybe they couldn't do anything. But if you know that the train is coming, somehow you should get yourself up out of that vehicle and move. Move as far away as you possibly can from that vehicle to stop yourself from being involved in the accident. Because you know it's no telling where the repercussions are going. And I set that up so we can kind of understand about this next video that I'm bringing to the stage, because it happened a while back. And this is part of the problem. I'm going to build up to it. I'm building up to it right now. So I want to bring this up, and I hope I go straight to the stage, because I need you to see it.
About 3.5 years of performance in work that has been historic.
But
whether
is that
it be
the man who we
the
saw
former
on the
guy, the
stage
other
tonight?
guy,
Is that
the
the
other
person
guy
you
on
see
the
in
debate
meetings every day?
stage? I'm not going to spend all night with you talking about the last 90 minutes
Well,
when I've been watching the last 3.5 years of performance.
Now you heard that, and you see who's saying it. Now, I got to go back, because I'm no better than them if I don't clarify why I'm here today. If it wasn't anything new that was out there, I wouldn't be bringing this up, because I did say last time, and I'm trying to stick by that word, that I wasn't going to talk about this again. But here's the reason why I'm talking about this. She said last 3.5 years, and you asking me about the last 90 minutes. So that means that you were in contact with the president for the last 3.5 years before the debate. That's important, because as we get through this next part of this show, I need to establish where we're going with this. Where we going? And most people won't hear it, but I'm gonna let you hear it anyway. I'm gonna go here. I need you to establish a precedent that's going.
It's complete hypocrisy to say, yes, we think he wasn't fit, but it was okay that policy continued to be made, and we didn't ask him to step down.
Now that's key. Now that's key, because now the Democrats are saying, we didn't know about any of this. Everybody's trying to run away from this. Everybody's running. Oh, they're grandstanding. Oh, they're going on the floor to grandstand, do everything else. Where's Chuck Schumer? Where's Nancy Pelosi? Where's the rest of the group that other presidents that was out there? Where are they? Nobody's saying anything. He makes a good point. If Joe Biden would have gotten this election 5 months when they knew it, would we be here? Would we be here? Would we have seen Trump on stage signing everything that he said he was going to do? Would we be here? Would healthcare be at the point it was? And I know, and national media going to go out there and they're going to say, well, we always complain about would've, could've, and would've. That election is over with. It's down the road. Well, let me tell you about the repercussions of would've, could've, and should've. We're gonna get to that, but I want you to hear the rest of this.
It's tragic for the Democratic Party to have let him go on so long when clearly people around him knew that there was a serious problem. The people closest to him had been close to him for years, most of them like 20 years. So they were super loyal to him, more than normal analysts, activists who come and go. I don't know that I retain, as a Democrat, if I retain being a Democrat, if I'm mad at Pete Buttigieg because he didn't wait. Am I mad at Kamala? I would not think it would be her responsibility to say, you're not. Now, might she say something privately? Yeah, but I would not expect her to publicly.
But I guess what the 25th Amendment's all about,
though. So much, but because.
Let me ask you a question. And I need to bring myself back to the station. Let me ask you a question. You're VP of this country. Transportation Secretary Buttigieg. You don't have access, and let me make sure that I understand this. You don't have access to the president. You don't have direct access to the president. You get to the chief of staff. I want to make sure that I'm trying to set up this to a point before. I want you to remember the name Anthony Burnell and Jill Biden. Because those names play a significant part in the reason why I came back and did this show today. And I got to add this back to the stage because sometimes we just get lost. That red and that blue pill. They had the same choice. What was his name? Anthony Brunel, Jill Biden's chief of staff. And I think that he's going to end up taking a lot of blame for what happened during the Biden presidency. Either he going to take it or Jill going to take it, and Jill ain't taking nothing. And it all evolves around the decisions that was made during the Biden presidency, especially toward the end when they start handing out those pardons, and nobody wants to own up to it. Nobody. I listen to some of y'all out there, but see, you can't go forward. You can't move past something because it's gonna hold you back. And they gonna and Byron, myself, and Pastor Riggins always say this. They playing chess while you playing checkers. They're setting their case up behind closed doors right now, so they can spring it on the Democratic Party at the midterm elections. And if this is true, and if it's close to that, you better hold on to your hats and get ready. So let me see if I can do this, because I want to get straight into it. I don't want to waste a lot of your time. I know today is Sunday. Biden, there's a cover-up. And it's a crisis for the Democratic Party, because the same exact procedures that they were using to try to get after Trump, and and I'm not saying that Trump was right. I'm not saying that Trump was wrong, but they're using the same procedures that they tried to get after Trump with. And let me just clarify. I didn't vote for Trump because I heard a lot of y'all come in my comments and say, you must be a Trumper. You must be a Trumper. No, I'm not a Trumper. I'm not a Trumper. I voted for Kamala. But it's a crisis that's on the way, and we just got to get prepared for it. Biden covered up the crisis that's coming. And I'm going to try to unveil it in a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to try to stay within that PowerPoint presentation that's showing on the screen right now, because it's important that we go through this whole thing and we don't miss anything. We don't miss much of it. I'm going to do some talking while we're going through it. We're going to have to unveil the truth. You're going to have to own the truth before you can come back and get the American public to follow you. If you don't own it, they ain't going to follow you. You might as well hang up midterm elections, as Byron Glass say. You might as well just light a stick of dynamite and call the Democratic Party just waste of time, because it's people that's died and fought for us to get here. Don't get me wrong. Because if you go back and you read the history of the Democratic Party, you might find out that their red and blue pill should turn into a purple pill. They should have red and blue in one hand and red and blue in the other hand, because of the way the structure is set up. Neither one of them is better than the other one, just depending on what time of the year it is and who you're voting for. But I will say this, the Democratic Party has a way of making you feel good. I borrowed that term from the person that I borrowed that term from, know who I borrowed it from. They want to make you feel good. And they're good at making you feel good, but they're not good at politics. Let me just say that. Because they're getting beat at every step of the way. As this scandal unfolds, the impact on the democracy of this country is going to be great. And let me tell you, because you don't sit there as a party, one of the major parties, and hide stuff from your voters. You don't sit there and continue to do it and expect to get a different result. That's called, they got a name for it. I'm going to let you figure it out. But they're undermining the principles of democracy. The American people deserve transparency and honesty from their elected officials. If I'm voting for you and I'm putting you in office, I need to know that your words follow your actions. And that's not the case right now. That's not the case. And I'm gonna go over here because the scope of the problem, what we're dealing with, I want to make sure I read it so you can understand it, just in case you can't see it through the video. Allegations of a cover-up regarding President Biden's mental, physical health raised serious questions about who was really in charge. The scandal could potentially involve the unconstitutional assertion of presidential powers. In short, what they're basically saying is that somebody else was running the country. We voted for Biden to run the country from the time he was in office to the time he left office. He should have still been the same person. But if something happened in between that time, we should have got word of it. We should have knew it. We should have been informed of it. And I'm jumping beyond where I'm at, but if you got cancer and you had if you got cancer after you leave office and you had a mental condition that they was justifying, don't you think that somehow they should have came out and told you about your cancer at the same time? And see, I'm getting ahead of myself because I just think that we should hold him accountable for his actions. Not just Joe Biden, but what was that guy's name over here? Let me go back over here. His wife is complicit in this too. His wife is complicit in this. And let me just say it. His wife is complicit in this, and everybody in the staff that held around Biden, they were power hungry. They wanted that power. They wasn't ready to relinquish that power. Because you know what would have happened if they would have relinquished that power? It would have been a different staff in there. Kamala would have had a chance to bring in her staff and run the country, but instead she had to stick. This is key. She had to stick to the policies that Joe Biden had in place, because if she wouldn't have stuck to those policies, people would have been questioning Joe Biden. They would have been questioning his motives, and they would have put her up. So she played her part to the end. She did good. She did what she was supposed to do. That's all I can say. I'm gonna leave her alone right now. Why this matters? If it's a cover in trust of the American people in government, the transparency, where we should be concentrating on that big, beautiful bill, we're not going to be able to get to the big, beautiful bill if we don't get this out of the way. We can't even bring it up at election time, because something else is going to start when it starts making the headlines at election time. I told you about that train that's on the track that's coming this way. That car is sitting there. That truck is sitting there. It's on the track. You know it's coming. It's only a matter of time till that train runs into it. The influence of the staffers on policy decisions and raises concerns about the legitimacy of his presidency. It's okay if he would have fell off toward the end. It's okay. But who was telling him to stay in office? Who was covering up the truth of his mental health and physical decline? Because it didn't just happen overnight. It didn't just happen overnight. And that's the reason why I want to make sure that I stick to this PowerPoint presentation, because I don't want to add to or take away. A deep dive into the allocations. I just want to tell you, health concerns was one of the biggest issues. Reports of extreme physical weakness, late stage prostate cancer, and I know y'all gonna eat me up about that, raised questions about Biden's fitness for office. The White House physician allegedly, now I'm gonna say allegedly, we gonna get to this, cover up deepen suspicions. Deepen suspicions. Now, I'm a doctor. No, I'm not. I'm not a doctor by going to school and doing all the rest of the stuff that it takes to get a doctor. I didn't go to college. I didn't do all the rest of that. I went into the military. But I'm a doctor, and I'm coming out to talk to my patient. I'm gonna take the role of a doctor. Miss Biden, I'm gonna go to Miss Biden first. I'm gonna say, Miss Biden, I understand that your concerns, and he does have a problem, and he has cancer. He's not mentally there, and it's some other issues going. His physical. I don't know how long he's gonna be able to stand on his feet and continue to do what he's doing because of the pressure that's on him. At that point, a normal person would have considered. Let me just set this up. Don't turn off on me. A normal person that truly cared about the person that was in that office would have said, babe, and I had this discussion before. We got grandkids, we got kids, and they say that you're at a point where you really should consider doing something else. And maybe if we give the country a chance by putting Kamala in early, it won't look so bad. And can you imagine how Joe Biden's transition, instead of him covering up everything that was going on, how his transition would have been at that particular time if he gave Kamala at least a year to position her team and go through all the rest of the stuff that she had to go through in the candidate, because there was other things that, I'm going to say it, other Democrats wanted to do. Run another primary, give somebody else a chance besides just Kamala. We never got to that point because of the decision that Joe Biden made, or let me just say it, the decision that his people behind the scenes made for him to continue to run. And I don't know how in the hell they told him that he could go another 4 years. And it's a disillusion out there, because I'm going to tell you right now, and we talked about this on the show, Byron and Pastor Riggins. Pastor Riggins say, Kamala could beat him right now. I'm going to tell you something. Nobody, after everything that happened, and even today, it's nobody out there that can run and would have beat Trump. As of today, I'm not saying a week from now. I'm not saying 2 weeks from now. I'm talking about as of today, nobody that you put up there could beat Trump, even if the election was held today. And if you think I'm wrong, just let me know. The only thing I want you to do is come in the comments. I didn't have them turned on, but I got them turned on now. If you want to come in, you're welcome to come in and make your comments and say whatever you guys say, because this is my opinion, but I'm backing it up by facts because I'm building up to it. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Jay Trapper's book reportedly revealed that the Democratic establishment was aware of Biden's problem and actively covered it up. Let me tell you, it takes a coordinated effort to do that. This was the guy that was at the head of the country. It's no way in the world that he got up anytime, any day. I want you to go back and listen to what I'm saying. Anytime, any day, that the cameras wasn't going to be focused on what he was saying. But somehow, we managed to get deceived by his cabinet, because they chose the places he was going. They marked on the ground places where he was supposed to stand. And we all seen President Obama have to grab him by the arm and escort him off the stage. So that's out there. You can see it with your own eyes. Whether or not you choose to believe it is your choice. It's your choice. Now, Jake Trapper wasn't the only one that wrote a book. And I still say this to this day, and I need you to hear me, because the book to be written has not even came out yet. Kamala has a book in the making. Now, she could take it to her grave, but I don't think so. Just me. When she can't run for governor, when she can't, it's hard, but when she can't do those things, and the only income that she has left, even if she do it up under the ghostwriting, the only income that she has left, she's gonna have to write a book. She ain't. I mean, she's gonna need some income. That's all I can say. So you do 2 + 2 and add it up to 4. She's gonna need some income. I'm just telling you that it's coming. This is the biggest controversy right here. The autopen controversy. Unelected staff making decisions for the president of the United States. Now, that Joe Biden that was running during the election time, when he was running for office, that feisty Joe Biden, that Joe Biden that was cussing people out, driving Corvettes, throwing baseballs, and doing all the rest of that. Now, that Joe Biden, if he was like that at the end of his term, we wouldn't be having this discussion. He could have beat Trump. Notice what I say, if we had the same Joe Biden. Anybody that's out there know that we didn't have the same Joe Biden toward the end. He could barely walk. He could barely move. He could barely hold a decent conversation. And this is a point where I'm going to kind of tie all this back together. I'm going to tie it together. When Jill Biden took Joe Biden on The View, I don't know if it was supposed to be scripted. They were supposed to ask them certain questions and then get him off the stage. But even if that was the case, I don't even think they got into their second or third question before Jill had to step up and start talking. Go back and look at it. The interview's still out there. Go back and look at it. So I'm not sitting here putting out information that you can't go back and back up and do your own research. I'm still going to a point. The increasing use of the autopen for executive orders and pardons and sparks concerns about the president's actual involvement. Legal experts question the validity of the document signed without the presidential authorization. That's gonna come back to hunt. That's gonna come back to hunt a lot of people. I didn't get his name, but I want to make sure I say his name a couple of times because I don't want to mention his name without calling out the president's wife. And I have my stuff set up, but Anthony Burnell. And I want to call out another name because he's the David Hogg's revelation about Jill Biden's chief of staff goes viral. You want to know who he is? I want to tell you what his name is. I want to tell you. He's the DNC vice chair. They're all coming out. DNC vice chair. But they're all pointing the finger at Anthony Burnell and Jill Biden. There's some more people in there because if you didn't have access to the president and you were the vice president, It's something not right. And if they was that good, they were great. Because if the vice president couldn't get access to the president and she could come out and say, I did not know that was Joe Biden. I haven't heard her come out. I haven't heard Barack Obama come out. I haven't heard Bill Clinton come out. Oh, we got Bill Clinton on tape, what he said. But he didn't come out and say, I didn't know Biden's health. None of them have came out and said that they own Biden's health where it was at that time. None of them. So we got to hold all of them accountable. We can't hold Carter accountable because he passed away. But Carter's about 90 years old, so I'm just telling you. But majority of the people that had access to the president, and here's the reason why I can call out Barack. His people, I'm going to say this, listen to what I'm about to say. His people was around Joe Biden every single day, complicit in everything that was going on. So if I was the president and I was the ex-president, and my people are there, don't you think that the information was being passed on? You don't have to be a genius, but don't you think that if I work for the ex-president, that I'm going to pass that information on because I value his opinion? I'm just asking. I'll throw up my hands. I'm going to keep on moving. The key players who was involved. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to call his name again. Jill Biden's chief of staff. Jill Biden's chief of staff was named as the real puppet master behind the scenes. What influenced what they willed. I'm just going to tell you. Before I go any further, Anthony Brunel, everybody's running. It's almost, and if you ever lived in the hood, you cut on the lights in certain areas in your house. If you got them little pests, they run. Long as you got the lights on, your stuff is clean. But you cut that light off and come in there in the middle of the night and you trying to get a glass of water, or you trying to just come in the, if you lived in the hood. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why I'm making reference to the hood, because they doing this. They destroying people within the Democratic Party slowly and surely. And it's coming out in little bits and pieces. But you have to listen to the other stations to get there. That hood part, I'm writing it down so before I get out of here, I can get back to the hood part. I'm writing it down. I want to get back to the hood. And I'm putting question marks by it because I want to make sure that we understand where we're going and how we're going to get here. Now, in your professional opinion, I've been talking about this, in your not professional opinion, but in your voting as a voter, who would you want to pass you on information that your president is not in the best of condition? In case you can't see it, let me tell you the White House physician. Biden doctor is accused of misleading the public about the president's health, protecting those potentially involved in illegal activities. Those other people, they had to get a doctor on board to do this. And the real reason why I'm setting this up like this, because I need you to know that White House physician is a professional. When that doctor comes out of surgery and he tells that family that he don't think that the family member is going to survive, they go by his word. Not this physician, but if you were in the hospital and they tell you something like your relative is not going to survive, you're going to trust that person because you know he has the education. You've seen him come around your parents or your son or your daughter. You've seen them build up. You've seen them come out of the emergency room or wherever they came from. You've seen a physician. And that physician should be able to give you three times, just in case some of y'all can see it, the truth. That's all you want him to do, is give you the truth and let you make your own decision on how you want to proceed from there. That's not what happened in this case. Now, and I'm building up to why this is important. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. You know, the House Oversight Committee. It don't matter if it was Democrat or Republican. The Republicans would have did the same thing if the thing was happening the opposite way of what's going on in the Democratic Party. They was going to investigate. They got an oversight committee and they got it started. It ain't no different. Let me just make sure you understand. It's a red pill in one hand. It's a blue pill in my left hand. It's a red pill in my left hand. It's a blue pill in my right hand. When he does this, they might as well put the pills in both hands when in that scene, because that's exactly what's going on. You can pick red or blue. That neither one of them is better than the other one. It just depends on who has the power at that time. Now let me tell you what's key to the doctor's testimony when they had him back there asking questions. When they asked him a direct question about Joe Biden's health and his mental state, if you didn't have anything to hide, if you wasn't concerned about it, this is a doctor that can come out and tell you whether or not you're going to live or you're going to die, whether or not you're going to walk or you're going to be in a wheelchair, whether or not you're going to take a pill and help your diabetes or your cholesterol and all the rest of that. And he had to be pretty good because he was the president, the highest person in the United States. And the only reason why I'm building him up to let you know the magnitude of where this doctor is and where he's held in his place as far as going in the White House. They didn't just go to the, we have a hospital called Ben Taub here. They didn't just go to the general hospital for the general public and say, hey, we want you to come take care of the president. Just saying, just building it up. Guess what the doctor did when they asked him a direct question? The doctor's Fifth Amendment plea raises serious questions about his involvement and why he refused to answer to the Oversight Committee. And that's the reason why I say red and blue, don't matter, left or right hand. Democrats would have did the same thing. The House Oversight Committee is attempting to uncover the extent of allegations of the cover-up. Investigation aims to reveal who knew what, when, where, why. And they're going to get there. But the Democrats, grandstanding. Hey, what's his name? Jeffries? Hakeem Jeffries? Oh, man, you broke the record. You should be talking about health care. But you grandstanding. Schumer's Casper the Friendly Ghost, the Senate. His name is Benny, and he ain't in it. Some of y'all know what that means, but I'm gonna go to the next. The political fallout and the consequences and reactions. That's important because we got the midterms coming up. You want the American people to go out and vote for your person. That fallout's gonna be bad. And let me help you so you can understand. Even people that was running with you, like the Morning Joe, are allegedly turning on Biden, increasing the pressure and scrutinies to find the cracks in the foundation. Now, when media, and I know the Morning Joe show, I follow it. I used to, I wake up in the morning, I get my morning cup of coffee with Morning Joe. Now the media is starting to crack on you. You heard it earlier when I had that young man up in the CNN. I'm just telling you, this stuff it needs to hit the fan now. It needs to hit the fan now because they are going to be, they trying to go through the whole process and drop that bomb. You remember what got Hillary, the reason why Hillary was leading almost every poll, everything that was out there? What happened at the end? They dropped the emails. Well, let me tell you what's going on right now. This investigation is unfolding. Insiders starting to point fingers and give names That doctor should be right at the top of it. Jill Biden should be at the top of it. That guy that I've been calling his name, that everybody's running away from, Anthony Burnell. Jill Biden, Anthony Burnell. The Democratic Party is starting to call him out and point fingers at people so they don't come back on them. And some of those candidates that was in office, vice president, I'm going to call out the vice president, transportation secretary, anybody that he appointed to office that said that they didn't have access to him. It was the reason why they in denial now. It's the reason why people come out and they tried to, after all those books come out, they was cleaning up their reputation. Or what was they saying? Their legacy. They didn't want to be tied to it. Man, we're in a world of hurt. The 2024 election pointed out that we're lost. Accusations against Trump were mirrored in Biden's administration. This investigation impacts the narrative of credibility of both parties. What did I tell you about the red and blue pill in both hands? One is no better than the other one, because either way that this would have gone, it would have pointed out the difference. The other party would have pointed out the same difference that I'm telling you now. We need to open up our eyes, our minds, because they're asking us for our vote, and they're asking us for money for the next election cycle that's coming up. Can you give your money? Can you give your vote to people that have deceived you? And they're going to be held accountable. If you notice that Kamala Harris, she's avoided any media interviews when asked about Biden's sudden departure. Biden's sudden departure. He didn't suddenly come up with cancer. He didn't suddenly have mental health issues. He didn't suddenly get to a point where he was barely standing and barely walking. But she doesn't want to be held accountable. Nobody else wants to be held accountable. But here's what I want to make sure that I make this point. I want to go back to this slide. I'm going to go back to it, but I'm not coming. I want to go back to this one. Doctor's testimony. Here's what they discovered on the doctor's testimony. They asked him a question about Joe Biden's health and stability, the ability to stand up. This doctor stated that he told Jill Biden that Joe Biden was going to eventually end up in a wheelchair. A wheelchair. He did disclose that. Now, that may not have nothing to do with his mental health or nothing like that, but it should have. We're going to implications for the Democratic democracy. Democratic Party is what I should have put in there. Because it's a banana republic, believe it or not. If you don't know what a banana republic, go out there and find out about it. You got too many people in the same party going different directions. You got the Senate going one way. You got the Senate hiding out. They don't, on the Democratic side. The Republicans have passed this great, big, beautiful bill in 3 or 4 days after the Congress gave it back to the Senate. The Senate made their changes and got it back to the president. So you can't say the system doesn't work. We may not like it, and we ain't gonna like it for the next 4 years. But we got there. But we need to build up our trust. And the only way that we're gonna tear it down, and the only fight that we have is that we got to acknowledge that there's a problem now. Don't let them drag this on. Get it out now. And they're trying to intentionally drag this on so they can bring out these interviews. I guarantee you, as they say, I can guarantee you it's going to be leaks. It's going to be leaks that start to hit the internet on the interviews of that oversight committee. And they're going to chop it up, do whatever they have to do. And I get it's not going to be in the favor of the Democrats when this comes out. It's not. And we might as well get ready for it. But if we don't pull that Band-Aid early before we get there, we're going to pay the consequences. I'm getting ready to wind this up because I need you to follow me and go down this rabbit hole with me, as Lawrence Fishburne said. Accusations included the use of lawfare, ignoring the Constitution, and trampling on what we call a democracy. But see, the Democrats, they want you to forget this. If you go to black media out there, they want you to forget this because they don't want you to hold them accountable. What they want you to do is move on. But you got to acknowledge that there was something going on before you get your people to move on, or else you're no better than what I hear on Fox News, Politica, and all the rest of those other channels that's out there. You're no better than them if you don't acknowledge that we got a problem that we need to address, that we need to own and move on from, because it not only are the books out there, but their own people are starting to fall. DNC, number 2 man, just letting you know. Lawfare. The justice system was abused to target political opponent Donald Trump. Let me tell you the reason why I put that in, and I might not agree with it because he did his stuff on his own, but they tried to hold him accountable for what he did. Did he lie? Did he cheat? Did he do all of that? Yeah, he did. But the real reason why I put that in was to point back and show you that one party is no different than the other one. If they feel like they get an advantage by calling out what you did and they can put it on you, make you own it, they're going to do it. The Republicans are doing the same thing. They put this back on the Democrats and say, you own it. And they're going to make you own it at the midterm elections. It's coming. It's coming. I want to go to this next one. Gaslighting the public. Yeah, the Democrats are gaslighting you. They standing up in Congress holding big conversations, not going nowhere, breaking records and doing all kind of stuff. But they're not focusing on the real issue that's going to get the people out there, to get the people to understand what's going on. Questions of mental health issues were dismissed. Are the leaders really upholding their democratic duties? No, you can't be upholding your democratic duties to your voters because you're not telling them the truth. Mass hysteria. It ain't gonna be nothing but the Democratic Party going crazy, wondering how can we get past this? You should be fighting it now, where you don't have to worry about then. Voters were not told the full truth. You didn't tell them the truth. You didn't even have the decency, and I'm gonna defend Kamala Harris, to give Kamala Harris a chance to win. Because if Biden would have announced that he wasn't running again, we could have had another candidate, or we could have picked a better candidate, or we had the opportunity to do it. But Biden chose to run, or did his staff, the people that we've been talking about, that they point out right now, that they choose, and because they was caught up in that power. That power. They wanted that power. I know. I'm using my hands to show you. They were caught up in power. It wasn't Biden, but it was his staff members around him. So you're right. It's going to be mass hysteria. No, because the Republicans are going to destroy it. They're going to bring it out, and some of the Democrats are going to be surprised. The conclusion: seeking justice and accountability. We're going to have to own it. We're gonna have to own it. Somebody needs to. This is a question. The validity of the executive order's pardon signed with the autopen is questioned. After all that I took you through, are you not questioning it yourself? Were any of the actions constitutional? the autopen and the pardons. They might get all their pardons thrown out if they complete this investigation. I'm just telling you, get prepared for it. Get prepared for the worst. If it doesn't go that way, good. But get prepared for the worst. That's what I'm trying to get you ready for. Oh, man. The role of election, the role of unelected staffers. I want to make sure I say that right. Unelected staffers and their influence on the policy requires answers. Who was really in charge? We were ran by a shadow government. We got to own it. Shadow government. It wasn't Joe Biden. We know it wasn't Joe Biden that was making the decisions, because we know we done broke it down. We done went through the whole process of this whole thing in oversight committee. If you don't think they're going to use that information that they got that we haven't heard, it's out there. But you don't hear it in the media. You haven't heard it in the media. I heard it. Let me just say this. I was upset last night, early morning, not because of this. I was upset because of something that I heard. And I was researching that, but I just happened to come across this at the same time. And this is, I gravitated to this. I'm gonna start doing the show, and I'm gonna tell you what the name of it. It's gonna be What If. I'm gonna call it What If. Because we love seeing shows that what if this would have happened? What if that would have happened? What if she would have got in office? Well, she didn't. But the people that that should be held accountable for her not getting in office, that's who we should be talking to. That's who we should be talking to. They got they got a long way to go. I'm gonna try to get through this real quick because I want to get to another point. Moving forward, restoring trust. There are calls for the Justice Department for those found guilty of conspiracy to overthrow democracy. You know what the other name of that is? Conspiracy to overthrow democracy is called treason. Treason. Just letting you know, it's called treason. I want to get through this because I don't want to go off of the air before I get to it. Comments section. People deserve to know on how the democracy was almost overthrown, and accountability. That word accountability and truth is part of what we need to know. I want to thank you for watching. I want you to thank you for taking your time. But I needed to break it down to a point where even the smallest, if you have even the smallest doubt out there, I needed to break it down where you could even understand, if you had to explain it to your child, you could explain it. Because I think that this says it all, red and blue. But you need to put a blue pill in the left hand or red pill in the right hand and go from there. We need to get past this. Now, I don't know how what's the solution of getting past this, but we need to come up with it real quick because midterm elections are coming up and we're going to have to own some of this stuff. If we can't own it, we're doomed. As Byron Glass said, start lighting that fuse because the Democratic Party is not going back in office at the midterm elections. And then you could guess what you got. You got maybe, and here's the reason why it's important. Trump is going to only do 4 years. If coming behind him is J.D. Vance, we can hope and pray that we got a better person in place. But based on J.D. Vance's reputation, I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say this, and I'm going to get off the air real quick because I want to make sure that I say this. I want to say thank God, thank God, thank God, because I'm going to tell you, if you're not a praying person right now, you should be a praying person in the future because this thing is set up to fail, and we need to hold our elected officials accountable. Now, before I get off the air, I want to say one more thing. Hood. You know who they calling a hood person on the other stations? And they building it up right now before the midterm elections. Jasmine Crockett. I know we love Jasmine Crockett. We love everything that she stands for. We love how she's calling out their problems and stuff like that, but they're setting her up to fail. I'm just telling you. Dallas, even the county up in Dallas has redrawn the lines for her to fail. Her own party is basically throwing her under the bus. Oh, you didn't know that happened, did you? You didn't know that can happen too. Your party can throw you under the bus if you're not following the guidelines. So I just want to tell you, beware. Beware. I don't think it was anything else that I want to bring. It was some more I want to bring to the stage, but you know what? I think that I made my point. I think that you can go out there, as we always say, do your own research. Find out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Byron Glass' word for it. Don't take A.F. Riggins' word for it. Go out there and do your own research and find out for yourself. We're going down a path that might cost us. Okay, I'm going to tell you, we're losing our live stream on Instagram. So I just want to tell you again, I always say it 3 times, and it's the reason why. Thank God, thank God, thank God. And I appreciate your time. Good. Take care. I almost say good night, but we're early in the day. Take care. Bye-bye.